Hi, replay viewers and web viewers. I was trying to give you something to look at. Hey, Catherine. I was trying to show something a little more interesting than the twins' Christmas presents. Let me see if I can get that turned around. Okay. Hey! They're asleep. Oh my God. They were wild hellions. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get on till I knock them behind. Put them down for a nap. I know, right? They're in their bedroom. Oh, me too. I do too. I'm making a little Afghan. Okay. Oh yeah, they were so awful. They weren't awful, but they were both. Sometimes one is whiny and the other one's not, so you can kind of roll with that. But they were both whiny today, just like they're a little off-kiltered. Like they're not sick and they weren't horrible. But when they're both whiny and needy at the same time, it's just impossible. Oh, you just woke up? Oh, that's cool. I actually had to try really hard not to fall asleep with them. Off-kilter, a little whiny. I kind of feel a little whiny today too. You did an accidental scope? What did you do? Slipsy, I scoped. I haven't heard of that before, Amelia. Oh, whoops, I scoped. Oh God, did you turn Periscope on when you were like taking a shower or something? Amelia, are you the sex bot? Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, whew, right? Oh my God, that's so funny. Hi, Nina. Oh, so, that's hilarious. Nina, Amelia did an accidental scope this morning. Today's our... I had somebody contact me about a home plan for their cats today. I don't know if you guys... Have I told you guys about that? It's a lot of fun. It's only $49. I take pictures of people's homes and lay them out a plan for doing their... Oh, no. I love it. I love it. I can't find my card, which is what I'm digging for. I think one of the babies got a hold of it. Hi. Hello. The laughter revolution. New streams of revenue. Yes. Yes. I've only had a couple of people contact me about that before. I've done it for people for free, but I haven't had somebody contact me who just found the website. Yeah, for $49, I can take pictures of people's homes and help them figure out where to put the cat shelves and how far apart and, where to buy the stuff. Or I have collected do-it-yourself plans if you want to make your own cat furniture. Laughing Linda, Laughter Revo Revolution. Do you follow at Laughing Linda? That's to Sarah's mom. Right? $49. The cat coach lady, and she does have a book. I'm just outside of Atlanta. Normally I'm an hour and a half north of Atlanta in Ellijay, Georgia. But today I'm in Loganville, Georgia, babysitting my twin granddaughters. $197. That's probably a better price. It does take a long time. Well, the cat coach lady charges $205 or $225 for 90 minutes, and that's all you get. And mine is, it takes as long as it takes. It's a flat rate. You think? It's pretty fun. I really enjoy it. See? Okay. I will. Somebody else, if he follows up, if somebody else contacts me. Tanya, does your daughter want a book? I have 2 copies of Catification by Jackson Galaxy. I do. What? $350 for one room? I'll come and organize your house. Laughing Linda. Sarah's mom. Is it laughing_Linda? Catherine, I'll come organize your house for that. For less than that. $75 an hour. I'll do it for half. I'll send it to you, Tanya. I have 2 copies and I thought your daughter might really enjoy it. Sell the $1,000 pot. Good plan. Good plan, you guys. Well, we'll see if this guy follows up and then... Wow, that's crazy. You know what? I love it so much, I would do it for free. I am cheap. I'm a cheap date. I'm a burger and fries kind of gal. I'm actually not. I'm more of a Ted's Montana Grill kind of gal, which is pretty expensive. Yes, I thought of her immediately. I should. I might as well. Got nothing to lose, right? It's not like I'm using that to put food on the table. Okay, today's our Course in Miracles day. And if you have the book and are following along, we're in chapter 30. Oh, thanks. It's covered in yogurt because Ashley kept pushing each cat. She thinks I'm a punch toy, I guess. She was going meow, 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 back and forth, back and forth. So I'm covered in her greasy toddler little peanut butter hands. But I didn't even know she knew that what a cat was or that a cat meowed. So it was pretty cute. Chapter 30, the new beginning. There are miracles in every day. Yes, there are. Oh, she can Google it. It's Catification by Jackson Galaxy. They have 2 books. This is the first one. Chapter 30, Section 3, Beyond All Idols. Verse 7. I might read 7 through 10. So, I feel like I'm heavily dependent on these books lately because right as I was getting on here, I saw that there was another shooting today in South Beach. Is that Florida? South Beach, Florida. Another shooting. On the same day of the San Bernardino shooting, there was a shooting in Savannah, Georgia. 4 people wounded, 1 dead. Yes, and South Beach. Okay, so right now on Periscope, a stabbing. I feel like every time I look at something, I'm seeing another shooting or another stabbing or another awful thing. So I don't know if I'm just seeing it more or if it's really more. But I feel like we're in the Wild West. People died right and left in the Wild West because everybody carried guns and there was absolutely no regulation. Oh, is that sort of how it is now? Huh. Well, no surprise our numbers are going up. Yes. Yeah, I was really feeling a need to withdraw today, and then I signed on and there it was again. Definitely. That's our focus, is to not let reality dictate how we feel. It's just sounds familiar. So, let's dive into our stuff here so we can make sure that outside stuff doesn't dictate our inside stuff too much or for too long. Thoughts seem to come and go, yet all this means is that you are sometimes aware of them and sometimes not. They're coming and going all the time. Oh, bummer. Definitely smiling at strangers, depending on where you're at. An unremembered thought is born again to you when it returns to your awareness. It didn't die when you forgot it. It was always there, but you were unaware of it. The thought God holds of you is perfectly unchanged by your forgetting. It will always be exactly as it was before the time when you forgot, and it will be the same when you remember again. And it is the same within the interval when you forgot. So we've talked about how we fall asleep, wake up, fall asleep, wake up. It's like that. Thoughts seem to come and go. It's just that they aren't really coming and going. We're just aware of them, and then we're not aware of them, and then we're aware. But what the book is saying is that the thoughts that Source holds of us are consistent, unchanging, and the same. Yes, well, that's the human condition. When I was in labor with Morgan, I was going to do the whole no painkiller thing, and I was at a hospital, and it wasn't going well, and I took a half a dose of Darvocet or something. It was a terrible idea, because then I fell asleep in between contractions, and so when I'd wake up with a new contraction, I was losing my mind, because I thought I was having one continuous contraction, because I wasn't aware that I was falling asleep in between. I know. I was like, it's not stopping. And they're like, no, you're falling asleep in between. I was like, no, I'm not. I am not. I thought they were lying. I really did. I thought I was going crazy. Oh my God. It was horrible, Nina. I thought it was not ever ending. Yeah. Oh my God, it was terrible. No, I don't. Yeah, my sister was there. My mom was there. And I thought they were lying. I was like, there's no way I'm falling asleep in between. Or I was, dozing off in between, and I wasn't aware. And as soon as I read this morning, I thought that is exactly how it is. We feel like one is... Sorry, of course you did, because you're a baby about pain, right? It's like that with us. We think it's one long... Everyone around you felt better, but I felt awful. Yes, me too. It was terrible. I was glad I only had one. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. It really didn't. I mean, I got the most awesome gift at the end of it, like we all do, but the process was pretty rough. But our thoughts are like that too. Like we think we're all one state, and it's not. We're awake and asleep, awake and asleep. In the in-between times, we don't know we're asleep so much. So we think it's all one continuous mood. Sometimes in therapy, you have to have someone keep a feeling journal. So every 15 minutes, they have to write down how they're feeling. Because people, especially who are struggling with depression, think they're depressed at the same level 24 hours a day. It is, yeah. At least it's, useful for something. You're not, even when you have bad depression, you're still not depressed at a level 10, 24 hours a day. So you have to keep track so that you recognize you're fluctuating. In the morning you might be a 10, and then in the afternoon you might be a 2, and by evening you might be a 5. It goes up and down, up and down. When we fall asleep in between, we think it's all one continuous shit stream. And that's not true. We're aware of it, and then we're not. So when we have a lens on that's filtering what we're aware of and not aware of, it seems like every time I turn on Facebook, I see a shooting. That's not true. It's not true that every time I turn on Facebook, I think I see a shooting. It comes and goes, it comes and goes. But lately, my awareness has been attuned to it. So I'm seeing it wherever it is. That lets me know I need to limit my Facebook time for one, and then readjust my vision. Yes, you're still depressed, but it's more depressed, less depressed, middle depressed, more depressed, less depressed, middle depressed. Oh, Carla. So sweet. Thank you. So, but God's not. Source is not fluctuating like that. Source is the only thing that doesn't fluctuate like that. And that's what it's saying. The love that's there is the same. We fall asleep, we fall away from it, we come back and forth, back and forth. But the source of that love is constant. It doesn't forget us when we forget it. It doesn't fall out of love with us when we fall out of love with it. It's the same all the time. Hello. Let's see. So the thoughts of Source are beyond change. They shine forever. They're not born. They don't die. But this is an interesting line. They wait for welcome and remembering. They wait to be welcomed. They wait to be remembered. They don't come knock on your door. They don't come hunt you down and lasso you and pull you back. They just wait to be welcomed and wait to be remembered. That's all. That's the beauty of free will, and also the double-edged sword, I guess, of free will. That's what someone else said too. I wonder if it's me. The thought Source holds of you is like a star, unchangeable in an eternal sky. So high in heaven is it set that those outside of heaven know not it is even there. The Florida rain is bad. Yikes. Steamy, probably. Okay, Carla, thanks for stopping by. So high in heaven is it set that those outside of heaven know not it is there. When you're in heaven, a heavenly mindset, you see it. When you're outside of heaven, when you've stepped out of it, you forget it's there. Yet still and white and lovely will it shine through all eternity. Oh, I gotcha. There was no time it was not there, no instant when its light grew dim or less perfect than it ever was. Completely unaffected by the turmoil and terror of the world, the dreams of birth and death that here are dreamed, the myriad of forms that fear can take, quite undisturbed, the thought God holds of you remains exactly as it always was. Surrounded by a stillness so complete that no sound of battle comes remotely near, it rests in certainty and perfect peace. And here your one reality is kept safe, completely unaware of all the world that worships idols and that knows not love. In perfect sureness of its changelessness and of its rest in its eternal home, the thought love holds of you has never left the mind of its creator, whom it knows as its creator knows what is there. So is your reality a thing apart from you? Outside you there is no eternal sky, no changeless star, no reality. You have not two realities. There's only one. The one that we fall asleep in is a dream. It's not real. The real reality is the unchanging, still place that no sound of battle can penetrate. That reality is kept safe for us all the time. It's our eternal home. It's always there for us. The sky embraces it and softly holds it in its perfect place, which is as far from earth as earth from heaven. It is not the distance nor the time that keeps this star invisible to earth, but those who seek for idols cannot know the star is there. Idols being anything outside of love. An idol can be fear, an idol can be Facebook, and an idol can be obsessive thinking. We can't see it when we're asleep, obviously. We fall asleep, we don't know it's there, but it is always there. And I think that section is so poetic in how it puts it. The Father is the eternal sky that holds that star safe, forever lifted up and anchored sure. Its perfect purity does not depend on whether it is seen on earth or not. It doesn't matter if we see it or not, it's still there. That's a real comfort to me when I fall asleep, or when I just wake up and realize I've been asleep, metaphorically speaking. Or when I catch myself bound up in something and remember, wait a minute, that peace, that love is always there for me. I just have to choose. I just want to see I just have to say I want to see it differently. And remember, we have to ask for help because we have free will. So help won't be imposed upon us. The doorway to home won't be opened for us. We have to open the door. That's our responsibilities. We have to remember that love, that peace, that shining eternal star is there, but we've got to open the door. That's the gift we've been given. I really like that part. Completely unaffected by the turmoil and terror of the world. Quite undisturbed. The thought God holds of you remains exactly as it always was. That's the truth behind the illusions. It goes on in that chapter more to say how we attack. We're always fighting illusions, which wastes our energy and helps. It contributes to us remaining asleep because we're so busy spending energy attacking ourselves and attacking others and attacking situations and aggressively interacting with the world. Who could wake up with that kind of stuff going on? Who could wake up and hear that peace and find that place where no sound of battle penetrates? And like Amelia said, sometimes we have to cocoon and shut it all out consciously because it's a lot. It's a lot to take. A constant bombardment of things that are designed almost to knock you out and make you go to sleep. I think that's the challenge of fighting against resistance. But we don't fight against resistance by getting violent. We just withdraw our attention from that stuff. And we ask for help. And we say, how can I see this differently? And we say, help! I'm overwhelmed. Help me. Whatever. Whatever's out there, just asking for help will remind you, oh yeah, there's this place of peace that I can go. I can go home instead of sitting on Facebook. I can go home instead of sinking into despair. I can choose that. And it's not easy. And there's a process. If I'm really deep in despair, I'm not going to jump from despair back to that feeling of contentment and peace right away. I'm going to maybe be a little, instead of despair, I might be depressed. Instead of depressed, then I might come up to just being a little like melancholy. And then that may come up to feeling maybe flat. And step by step by step, I'll get back to that feeling of home. And sometimes that takes seconds, and sometimes it takes hours. It used to take days. It doesn't take me days anymore. But it can still sometimes take hours if I have not been paying attention and have let myself fall asleep for too long. The waking up process, again, can take a few hours sometimes. So there's that. I guess stages. Yeah. Esther Hicks calls it the emotional scale. Coming up the emotional scale and just allowing yourself to float back to the top. It really is like floating on water. You can't float. Who was using this analogy just the other day? Somebody I saw on a YouTube clip or something was like, you can't effectively float if you keep raising your head up out of the water. Right, duh. I could turn this off. Duh. I don't have to listen to NPR this morning. I could just let it go. Hi, Cynthia. Cynthia, you'll like the replay. We read something really beautiful out of A Course in Miracles today, and we're going to read out of the Law of Divine Compensation. Hi! It is a well done moment. Like, oh, I have control over this. I have control how far I pull myself underwater. But if you're floating on your back in water and you keep raising your head up to see if you're floating, you can't float. And really to float, all you have to do is relax, right? And let the water support you. If the more you relax, the better you float. It's a tricky process if you're nervous about water like I am to effectively float. But the more you relax, the better off it goes. Right. Why did I fall asleep for so long? And then we have control over that too. And that can trigger some despair. Like, oh, geez, I've been asleep for like 2 weeks. But it used to be sleeping for years, right? So that's good. So let's see what we have. Let's see what we have for this book. This is the one we tacked on to our Course in Miracles work for those. And this applies to anything. This book in particular is talking about money. But it can be anything at all that you're struggling, feeling the lack of. Your instinct is to sleep. Oh, that's so cute. I'll send her that book Monday, Tanya. Jackson Galaxy and Kate Benjamin have put out a second catification book, but I did a website contest with the first book and I still have one left. She's out of her mind. You have 3 cats, I think. How old is she? She's like a adolescent, young adolescent. Sky, how old is she? You know, about falling asleep. Oh, hers and Pretty's room. Aw. Faith is not just a theological principle. It's a mental and emotional muscle. 12. 2 cats and 3 dogs. I love it. It's a muscle, right? So we fall asleep for shorter times. I feel like over the years, I still fall asleep. But like I said, it can be minutes to hours. And a hedgehog. Cute. Instead of weeks, days, or years. I know that there were years that I was asleep. Lost in depression. That doesn't get me by the throat very often. Periscope helps. Like, holding myself accountable to be here every day definitely helps me stay centered. Because at least for an hour a day. Henderson the Hedgehog. That's adorable. Okay, I'm just trying to find chapter 2. I keep skipping over it. Chapter 2. Where are you, chapter 2? Oh, chapter 2 is the power of faith. You want a hedgehog? I'd be afraid that with 5 cats, somebody would have hedgehog for lunch. Especially Tonka, because he's so terrible about digging into stuff. Chapter 2, the power of faith. I'm going to summarize. This is a long story she has in chapter 2. The bottom line of which, when she first started out talking about Course in Miracles and being promoting herself as a speaker and getting speaker engagements, she had an idea for this great evening of spiritual and musical entertainment. She booked a hall. She spent a fortune, and then didn't advertise it. Because at the time she thought, well, people, they'll just find it. So it was a huge mistake. Her parents had come in and she was devastated at the end of it. Like 1/10 of the people showed up that the venue could hold. So she lost $10,000 on that deal. And her dad was like, you took a risk on something wonderful and you learned from it that there's things you have to do to advertise these things. And you tell yourself and anyone who asks that you can absorb the loss. So if you've made a money mistake that has left you with pieces to pick up, you can shift into that place of choosing to see the situation with love. So anything, present or past, we can still choose to see with love or fear. We can go back to things that still cause us fear when we think about them and shift and say, how can I see this from love? How can I shift my perspective on this and see, is love available even here, even in this memory of the past? So she had friends around her who were just freaking out on her behalf because of the financial loss. And she just kept saying, no, I'm going to choose to believe I can absorb the loss. And over time, she believed in that. She didn't use it. She could have used that as fuel to burn herself on the pyre of failure, which some of us can do, just whip yourself over stuff like that. But what she needed and what her dad helped her find was faith. Faith that she could go forward and ultimately recoup her losses. We talked the other day about the locust thing, where if you're in alignment, God will restore what the locust had eaten and then some. Maintaining your faith means that in spite of outward appearances, you still hold on to choosing love in every moment. So if you're going to look at your bills, you make sure that you're in a good state of mind before you do that. You get yourself connected to love, and then you look at your bills. And you recognize that they're just numbers on a paper. They don't tell a story about who you are, and they don't tell a story about where you're going. They don't dictate your future. They're just numbers. Easy for me to say. It's not easy. But faith is not a theological principle. It's a mental and emotional muscle. It's an aspect of consciousness, a function of the mind. With every attitude, we demonstrate faith. We demonstrate faith in that things can go wrong, or we demonstrate faith in that things can go right. We choose where we put that energy. Our problem is that we tend to have tremendous faith in the power of our disasters and far too little faith in the power of miracles. So we spend all our energy beating ourselves up over mistakes instead of spending all our energy trying to shift our perception to allow for miracles that are always right there. Our faith itself is a potent force. We increase a thing's power by increasing our belief in its power. So that's the idol stuff. Like, what do you believe has power in your world? Do you believe that CNN has the power? Do you give it the power? Do you give the news reporters amplification of everything horrible in the world the power to dictate how you're going to feel today? Or do you recognize that, yes, horrible things happen in the world, and I'm going to choose love, which is going to lead me to the right action I can take to do my part in addressing it? Like any muscle, faith grows strong when used and weak when unused. When faith in love and its miraculous authority becomes a thought form that guides our thinking, it turns into an extraordinary power that transforms our lives. I have a terrible habit still of checking Facebook and Instagram when I first wake up in the morning. Instagram I like, because Instagram, I've loaded my Instagram feed with you all and with tons and tons of cat and dog bloggers. So Instagram's, if I have to check one, I should really just stick with checking Instagram because it's usually uplifting. Oh, so terrible. Facebook. So I check Facebook, I check Instagram. Sometimes I even check Twitter. Sometimes before I even get out of bed. It's terrible. It's a terrible habit. What if I, instead of getting out of bed, flipped open my Kindle app on the phone and read something inspirational instead? Doesn't that sound awful? Like, it sounds awful. You mean I gotta read something inspirational? I can't check my Facebook? That's kind of screwed up thinking. That's backwards thinking. I'm not saying that I can't check my Facebook, but does really that need to be the first thing I open my eyes to in the morning? It's not enough that spirit. So what I'm saying is I'm strengthening my focus on disaster muscle more than my focus on faith muscle. Because you can't go on Facebook. Yeah, it sets the tone for the whole day. I'm like, really, Michelle? That's what you're going to choose? Facebook? A lot of times there's a lot of inspirational stuff on Facebook because of how I've filtered out my feed. But invariably somebody posts something awful. And that's fine. I'm just not in the space really to resist that impact when I'm just waking up. So it's not enough. Oh yeah, right. The timing. That's what Nina says too, that sometimes the timing is that she's on her treadmill or something. Although as late as I've been lately, I think she's been in her car more. That's good. Yeah, that would be better too. Like, why don't I turn on the phone and flip open to Periscope? Somebody's always on doing something inspirational. It's not enough that spiritual power exists, okay? Like I said earlier, we have to open the door. We have to have faith that it exists in order to use it. Faith affects our everything and greatly influences how we experience what's happening. So it's not what's happening, it's our reaction to it. Aw, thanks. Thank you. When you're sitting in front of a pile of bills you don't know how you're going to pay, or you're being hounded by creditors, or you're afraid you're going to lose your home, when you're confronted by images of economic gloom and doom and hardship every day, it's easy to fear that your financial state will only get worse. It seems easier to have faith in the power of loss than faith in the "You're my morning reminder, put my energy where it's positive and meaningful." Thanks! I love that. I love that I'm your guys' reminder. You're my reminder too. Because when I wake up whiny, I know that I have this to look forward to every day. And it brings me back to center too, which is why I always try to do it before noon. Because it seems like if I don't make it by 12, I just write the day off. Start over the next day. That's not particularly effective either. Anyway, faith isn't blind, it's visionary. It's visionary. Where's your vision? Having faith in a positive outcome doesn't mean you're denying a problem or ignoring obstacles. You will face powerful obstacles. It simply means you're affirming a solution. So you look at the stuff and you choose love as your response, and then you wait for that inspiration as to what action to take. Sometimes there's no action to take. Sometimes you just go squeeze your kids a little harder. Sometimes you just go pet your kitty's whiskery face. Sometimes that's all you can do. Other times you need to start a petition or march on Washington. And, there's little actions and big actions, and you're not going to know which one unless you're quiet, unless you're focused on that heavenly star. If you believe what you see with your physical senses and your mortal circumstances, that belief is a powerful force. Your power to believe is literally being used against you. Compassion-driven action. I like that. Compassion-driven action, big or small. Yeah. Sometimes it's just sign a petition. Sometimes it's start a petition. But always coming from that place of love. Always get in that place of love first. Because if you take action in anger, at a minimum, you're wasting your effort. Typically, you're just harming yourself, and you may be harming others. But you can see your current economic hardship as what it really is. A temporary deviation from love's perfection. That's all. It's happening within the mortal realm, but in ultimate reality, it's not happening at all, because only love is real. Then your vision works the miracle. That's when you have that shift, that holy instant, where you have a shift in perception. When you're willing to see it differently, and all of a sudden your vision clears up and you're like, oh, okay, well, this kind of sucks. But little by little, I'll figure it out. And I'm open to a miracle, and I'm going to get my little money mala or whatever I use and say some mantras, and then I'm going to get on Periscope and watch something inspirational. And I'm going to get my miracle that way. My vision works a miracle because it shifts how I'm seeing. When I shift how I see, I shift how I feel automatically. It frees your energy, excuse me, thoughts and emotions, opening your mind to new possibilities. I've had this happen where I actually had money somewhere that I had completely forgotten about. And I was totally in freak out mode, thinking that I was out of money. And then once I settled down, sometimes hours or days later at that time, I'd be like, oh my God, I have $500 in this other checking account. Duh. But my mind was so stuck in freak out. Oh man. Once you're stuck in the freak out zone, then you just don't remember. So when your vision shifts and you come back to love, you're like, oh, this is okay. I've got $500 stashed somewhere else. Well, sometimes there isn't a stash somewhere else, but sometimes there is. But having your mind open to new possibilities brings it in from somewhere else sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it shows up just when you need it. It's just a temporary deviation from love's perfection. Any problem that you're having is just a temporary deviation from love's perfection. And you can always step right back into line with love. That's what a miracle is. A shift in thinking, which then shifts your experience. This shift in perception, your willingness to look beyond appearances, enables you to invoke a different set of probabilities going forward. It enables you to see beyond what's happening to what could be happening, thus creating the space for something new. Faith is power, but it changes your life by changing you. It doesn't change your life by blowing a lottery ticket into your pathway as you take a walk, although that would be really sweet. I think it might suck. I don't know. It places you on a different ground of being within yourself. I like the change me prayers for that. Like, change me into someone who can see clearly. Change me into someone who stays awake longer. Change me into someone who can choose love. Nah, it would be awesome. I think you're right. Yeah, it actually would be awesome. Who are we kidding? Winning the lotto would be freaking awesome. Yes, it would be challenging and it might blow some circuits, but you could do some cool stuff with it. It keeps you from sinking into victim consciousness. That's critical, because I've been very guilty of falling into victim consciousness, feeling victimized by circumstances and sorry for myself. And once you've sunk into feeling sorry for yourself, you pretty much have to write off the day, take a nap, and wake up and try and start over. It's very hard to pull yourself back out of it once you're stuck in it. Being a victim, yeah, I can throw some insanely massive pity parties. I'm an awesome pity party planner. So what happens when we do that, though, is we just attract more of it. And by letting go of that, by choosing faith instead, it was totally justified. The facts of the matter justify it. It's a very seductive place to be. That's a perfect word. It is a seductive place to be. It's familiar. It's a familiar bad feeling. Like my professor used to say, we all have a familiar bad feeling that feels really cozy and warm, and we like it there. And depression and self-pity is my familiar bad place. For some people, it's rage. For some people, it's anger. Some people, it's false happiness, like the fakey cheerleader kind of stuff that's rah, rah, rah all the time. But it's a bad feeling. Hi, Michelle. How's Chuck? Charlie. Michelle got a puppy and named him Charlie, and I love that name, Charlie. Hello! Where we put our faith literally and directly influences what happens next. Depression is such a familiar bad feeling for me that sometimes I really want to stay in it because it's so familiar and I don't have to think about it. And it's comfy and cozy and what do I want to say? Like, depression helps me dampen the sounds of the world. It's like a fog blanket. So, and before I knew how to dampen the sounds of the world myself by choosing love and getting in a state of connection with Source, you stop thinking. You can just go to bed and go numb, and everything's quiet and everything's familiar because you know how depression feels. Yeah, it's a type of protection. It's a defense mechanism to some degree, especially for sensitive people. It's a defense mechanism when the outside world is just too much to handle. So some people choose drugs for that. Some people choose depression for that. It's a damping down of the stimuli coming in from the outside that we don't know what to do with. Can't deal with it. So you just turn the volume down. Connecting to love does the same thing, but it's not as familiar as depression. Even now, it's not as familiar. It's only this year that I have not let myself off the hook. I've been pretty disciplined. I've actually been very disciplined. But it's only this year that I felt capable of being that disciplined. So it's changing to where choosing love and being connected to Source is more familiar. And when I'm out of it, that is starting to get painful. So I cannot put this stuff down because to do so would put me back. I'm not saying this very well. Like the balance is shifting to where depression used to be my most comfy, happy place. And now that state of connection to God is my more comfy, happy place. Does that make sense? So depression is not quite as comfortable as it used to be, which is good. Depression as a sign. The people who struggle with addiction the most are the most creative and the most sensitive people. Yeah, it is. You can't hate people who are addicted. They don't know how to deal with the world. They're usually empathic. They're usually highly intuitive. They're usually deeply creative. I'm going to say 90% of the time. Oh, Tanya, thanks. It's just from experience. I've just seen it a million times. People who struggle with addiction are intuitive, empathic, creative individuals that our society gives them nowhere to go. And who does our society give the least avenue for expression of creativity and sensitivity is men. Men struggle with addictions. Women do too. But I really believe men are more vulnerable to falling into addiction when they're intuitive and creative and sensitive people. Because we give them nowhere to go. In different cultures, they would be trained as shamans. Shaman. Is shaman the plural of shaman? You know what I mean? Like they don't have an outlet. They don't. They're not allowed to be sensitive and creative and empathic unless they're homosexual. And then they get all that mess. They can be straight and they'll be called homosexual because they're more creative and sensitive people. So we don't give them anywhere to go. And then we're surprised that they're angry. Yeah, in other cultures, they'd be trained as healers, as artists, as artisans, as craftsmen. But we want to stuff them all in suits and ties and send them into the banking industry where they slowly kill themselves. And other people by being secretly addicted, doctors and lawyers. You would be maybe not shocked, but there's an enormous amount of addiction among white-collar, high-ranking professional men. Because they can get away with it. They can hide it. They can afford it. And they can hide it longer. It's really sad. That part's really sad. So we need to never judge an addict, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You don't know what they're dealing with, or anybody actually. Let's just apply that across the board. Yes, they don't get sent to prison. They get sent to rehab. I can totally go off on a soapbox if I'm not careful. Because in states with private prison systems, you will find an enormous amount of people in there strictly for drug-related charges. And that's absurd. That's a moneymaker. States without private prison systems put their money into treatment programs, and they send their addicts to treatment, not to prison. Colorado is terrible about how many people have been in prison for just drug charges. Okay, the ills of society. But a lot of work with addicts is teaching them how to handle the world and how to turn it off without sinking into addiction or depression. People who are depressed are typically highly sensitive. Highly sensitive. Blessed are those who have faith and cannot see. That means empowered are those who remember who they are, even when circumstances would tempt them to believe otherwise. I love how she says not to be tempted by your circumstances to fall into victim consciousness or to fall into a deep depression. Don't let those circumstances tempt you into turning your back on love. Thinking of that as a temptation for some reason makes it a little easier to think about resisting that road and choosing love instead, even though choosing fear is more familiar. Empowered are those who remember who they are, even when circumstances would tempt them to believe otherwise. It's easy to have faith in God's infinite abundance when you have millions of dollars sitting in the bank. But what's important to remember is that everything seen begins in a place that was first unseen. Abundance starts in the invisible and shows up later in the natural. When a pilot can't see the horizon because of low visibility, he or she doesn't assume that the horizon has disappeared. At a time of low visibility, the pilot flies on instruments, faith, bananagram, because he knows that the horizon is still there. He absolutely knows the horizon is still there. And we need that kind of certainty that source is still there, that grace is still there, that God is still there, that love is still there for us, even at times of low visibility, even at times where we're tempted to let our circumstances say that all this spiritual stuff is crap and just nonsense or magical thinking. I hate when somebody calls spirituality magical thinking. I'm like, you want magic? I got your magic right here, buddy. I'll give you some magic. A magic trip to the ER. I'm just kidding. I've never hit anyone. Tanya, that's perfect. Oh my God, that's perfect. We need to develop object permanence for the divine. That's our problem. We're toddlers in all aspects. We don't have object permanence for God. So if we can't see it, we forget it or it doesn't exist. That is brilliant. So we're not like bad for forgetting. We just need object permanence. That's all. What a great way to describe it. Faith is like flying on instruments. It's acting on the assumption that just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Just because Ashlyn can't see Mommy doesn't mean that Mommy doesn't exist anymore. Today, Mommy got out the door without a lot of tears and crying, so that was nice. Ashlyn just let her go. It was fine. She's developing object permanence, probably. Faith is not just knowing that love is always there. Faith is also knowing that that which is not love is not really there. So there we slipped into some Yoda speak. So let's read that again. Faith is not just knowing that love is always there. Faith is also knowing that that which is not love is not really there. So it's knowing what is the truth and knowing what is illusion, knowing the difference. And of course it's there within the 3D reality, the bills, the foreclosure, the pink slip, but that reality is not the ultimate reality. Your power to invoke ultimate truth lies in your clarity about what is true and what is illusion, knowing the difference. With every thought we think, we display faith in love or faith in fear. Faith in love is this: I lack a job as the world defines it, but my divine function is established by God. I am here to love and be loved, and that is what establishes my worth. My worldly rejection establishes my value in the universe, and no material lack diminishes my fullness in God. I atone for my errors and forgive others for theirs. So I forgive myself and I forgive everybody else. I place this situation of apparent lack in His hands and rest in absolute faith that it is miraculously changing even as I speak this word. Now that's pretty wordy. So I think if I was going to reword that, I would say, right now I'm unemployed. But my only purpose in this world is to express the love that is given to me, which is endless. I am here to love. I am here to be love on this planet. I'm here to express and be a conduit for love out into the world. That's my purpose. And that's not a job. That's what my life is. So just because I don't have a job right now doesn't mean anything about my worth. I forgive myself and I forgive everybody else. I bless myself and I bless others. And I place this situation in your hands and rest in absolute faith that it is miraculously changing even as I speak this word. If you're putting your faith in fear, you indulge in that temptation of thinking, I'm a failure. I'm too old to get another job. They're only hiring young people. The economy won't pick up for years. I totally screwed up. I was screwed over. Blah, blah, blah. Damn the Democrats. Damn the Republicans. Damn the unions. Damn the Taliban and the ISIS. Oh, God. Thoughts place in the... When you put your thoughts in the service of fear, if you think about that, that's an interesting way to think about it, too. Are your thoughts in the service... Damn it all to hell. I used to say that all the time. God damn it all to hell. I have a truck driver mouth. You know the dad on A Christmas Story? The dad character, how he cusses all the time. The narrator says, my father wove a tapestry of profanity that's still hanging in the air over Cleveland or something. I thought I was bad, and then I met Heath, and my eyes were open to how bad profanity can actually be. God damn it all to hell. Oh, that's funny. It's a terrible habit. Okay, so who are you serving? Are your thoughts in service to love? Are they in service to fear? I kind of like that concept. Like, I don't want to serve fear. And if I'm choosing fear and I'm dwelling on fearful thoughts, I'm serving the purposes of fear. I don't want that. I want to serve love. I want my thoughts to be in service of love. Right. We're all Michelle's or Jennifer's. The Tiffany's came after us. The Tiffany's and the Britneys. It's because of the Beatles that we're all named Michelle. Because that song was so popular. Thoughts placed in the service of fear are unloving. They are attack thoughts, and miracles flow only through loving thought. It is love and love alone that gives us the power to transcend the lower thought forms and appearances of the mortal world. So even when you're having a crappy day, you can still love yourself in your crappiness, just like you would a screaming toddler. You love them through their tantrum. Right. It's the Beatles' fault. So we can know that we're depressed, and we can know that we've indulged and we've slipped into victimhood, and we can love ourselves and just laugh about it. We can just say, oh gosh, look what I did. I slipped off into that place that used to be super cozy. Yes. Yeah. This book is not as complicated as Course in Miracles. You know, I'm starting to think so too, Tanya. It gives me a lot more self-compassion if I think of myself just as a toddler. Just like a perennial 49-year-old toddler. Throwing tantrums and whatnot. I think I'll stop right here. Actually, we're almost at the end of that. We're about halfway through chapter 2. So let me stop right here with this. No, I didn't see her speech. Catherine, it's not. I'm pretty much reading it word for word. It's not bad. She gives good examples. Like she says, here's what faith in fear sounds like. Here's what faith in love sounds like. And it's a nice small book that fits in your purse. That's nice when you want to carry something around. I'll Google it. Thank you. I'll Google it. You don't think well in abstract. You will. The more you study this stuff, the more you'll find that your mind can reach around it better. Oh, Amelia. I love that name. I really do. Okay. So I'm going to stop with this line. Your faith in love doesn't determine love's power. You can believe it or not. But it does determine whether or not you will experience that power. You can't turn off the light, but you can put your hands in front of your eyes and then complain that the room is dark. Oh, brother. We can't turn off the light, but we can put our hands in front of our eyes and then complain that the room is dark. It's so dark in here. It's so dark I can't see anything. Where's my banana? I think I'll stop there. I probably should stop there because they won't sleep too much longer. Oh my gosh. You guys, it's a good book. It is. It's a good book. And it's not hard to understand, Catherine, if you're still here. It's not that abstract. She gives good examples. She gives stories, and I'm summarizing them because of our time frame. But she gives nice examples with stories and people that she's worked with. Yeah. So seek that place and let yourself be surrounded by a stillness so complete no sound of battle comes remotely near, and rest in certainty and perfect peace. Let yourself rest. Let yourself rest in that peaceful state. Yes, you can. Instead of resting in our depressed state, which is what we've done for years. We've used our depressed state as an opportunity to relax. And instead, we can learn to get comfortable with peace. Yeah, I'm really chunking it down. I'm chunking out and summarizing a lot of the storytelling. So, I don't either. I don't either. I really don't. I want to be, I think it's just because peace has been an unfamiliar place. Depression is very familiar. Oh, guys, screenshot that. Hurry, get it. That's a link to Marianne Williams's speech. Jaw-dropping, we're told. What is your first name? Alchemical Toil. Did you notice that if you've checked your followers or you've been... Lex, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. And thanks for sharing that link. That was probably a lot to type in. So the sex bot thing, if you check your followers, you may find a bunch of porno sites have followed you. So you need to go in and block those. People are throwing fits about it and bombarding Periscope, asking them to make a Periscope where we have to approve followers. So kind of like Facebook, someone can send you a request and you can approve or disapprove it. I really do hope they do that, because what they've done now is they've taken the sex bot out of their handle and they're just putting women's names. And if you don't have your glasses on, you don't recognize that their avatar picture is really just their boobs. That was disturbing. I was like, oh my God, there's like a whole row of boobs in my followers list. When I put my glasses on, I was like, oh God. Check your followers. Y'all check your followers list and go block any. They're like straight porno avatars. I was not happy about it. I don't need to see a bunch of lady parts. Yeah, they were saying sex bots and really like porno titles, so they were easy to spot. They should use their knowledge for good, right? They're so smart. I don't know. Mine's decreasing. Oh, every day I get a few less, but they've changed it to now names. I just can't stand to go in and see a bunch of lady parts on my list. So I have to block it. I don't want to see those boobies. I don't even want to see my own boobies. Yeah, I saw it. I mean, I didn't see the scope. I saw that she had one. Perry Girls had one, and then she did a summary of the longer Perry Girls one. So I'm really grateful for Perry Girls and Tag Tribes because they keep us informed of that kind of stuff. Tag Tribes is more business people. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I take that back. They're a mix of everything. Both of them are. So anyway. Yeah, can you imagine if they took that power and used it for good? All the energy they spend marketing women's bodies. If they use that power for good. Oh, look. Thank you, Lex. Oh, that's so kind of you. A better link. I'll have to watch the replay and cut and paste that. So, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for hanging out. Look at all the screenshots. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Can I screenshot while I'm scoping? I've never tried it. I'm afraid I'll disconnect you guys. So, well, I'm going to go and start a load of laundry for my daughter or something. Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, unless you're in those groups, you won't hear it. I mean, just cruising around, you'll miss it. And I don't want you to someday open your followers list and see, 500 booby shots. Yay! Yeah, I'm glad you're able to get here. Enjoy your puppy. I love puppy breath. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you came. We have a pretty good group here every day. I'm on every day before noon Eastern, 7 days a week. Bye. I'll see you later. I'm going to go do a couple of things for my daughter before the babies wake up and have me run it again. Puppy breath is awesome. And Tanya, let your Sky know that I'll throw that book in the mail on Monday. Bye, ladies. And if there's any men, replay, or web watchers, bye, fellas. I love you guys. Love to you all. See you tomorrow.